Advantage Learning Bytes at Coffee Conversation, powered by the Emerging India Forum TIFF, Lions Club of Mumbai Shining, India Business Group IBG, Indian Chamber of International Business ICIB, and Prime Infotech Solution, our tech partner. In Advantage Learning Bytes session, we invite a subject expert speaker for mini coffee conversation to share their knowledge on a very trending topic. Today's theme is 8 creative ways for content writing. Hi, I am your host Joy Singh and our guest speaker for today is Pooja Dubey. Pooja Dubey is a technical writer, B2B content creator, and a writing coach for aspiring new writers and authors. More than a decade back, she turned her passion into her profession and transitioned from a business development role to writing. Since then, she has produced more than 1,000 pieces of content for over 100 companies and has conducted over 150 hours online sessions for learners on topics of writing, storytelling, creativity, and more. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you very much for the warm welcome. I'm very much excited.
Same here, ma'am. So let's get started with our today's question, our coffee conversation. And my first question to you would be, what are some of the key elements of effective writing, regardless of the genre or purpose?
Okay, so you must have heard that writers are creative people, right? But what does this creativity actually mean? Does that mean that you always have to be, bubbling with new ideas, always have to say something in a style? Creativity actually comes from your capability to give something unique. And unique doesn't mean it has to stand out in front of the world as something very different, but it does mean that you present your originality. So I have seen many content writers. This is what they do. They go through a couple of blog articles, they read it, and then they combine the best pieces of them, and then they create an article. Now, this is not really writing. This is not at all writing, because what you're doing here is just reframing what's already given to the audience. If you really want to be a successful writer, first thing you must remember that your writing has to have the originality, your essence in it, which means you cannot just copy and rephrase. You have to think. Thinking is where actual writing starts. Many people think that when we do scratch writing, we just open a paper and we start writing. That always comes as rubbish. It is not really going to give the readers what they are looking for that you need to think. So the first rule of success is, do not just copy or rephrase, but think about it. Next very important thing is, who are you actually writing for? Unless you're writing, let's say, a diary, or you're just expressing yourself through a poetry, you're always writing for someone else and not yourself. You may be writing in a closed room, but there's other person who's going to read, maybe 100, maybe millions of people. So readers are the people that you should be interested in genuinely helping them, supporting them, or entertaining them, whatever is the purpose of your writing.
Absolutely, ma'am. And what role does research play in the writing process, and how can writers effectively gather and incorporate information from credible sources while they are writing?
Yeah, let's say you have been a B2B writer and you have always been writing for people in your own organization. And suddenly, what?
Ma'am, continue speaking, it's fine.
Okay, there's some echo, I guess. Okay, so suppose you have been writing for people working in your company, and you have been using a mature language, a lot of jargons from your industry, and you know your readers understand it well. Now, let's say your boss suddenly comes one day and says, we should do something about youngsters. I want to launch an event to inspire youngsters, and I want you to write a few blog articles and posts for teenagers. Now, tell me, will you be able to actually give justice to that? Will you be able to write it? not unless you have done research.
Yes.
And research doesn't mean just you collect the material to write. Research means you understand who's your reader, what your reader likes, what your reader doesn't like, what kind of words can your reader understand, what is the capacity level of language, what style do they like, what kind of conversations they do, what kind of pains they face, so you can create relative stories. So, research is the primary step in any form of writing. You just cannot do good writing without research.
Absolutely, ma'am. And can you provide some of the insights into the importance of editing and proofreading in the writing process? And what techniques can writers use to enhance the quality of their work? Because a lot is already available on the internet on every given topic. So, creating a unique piece of article from the information available is in itself a very big task. So, how would you approach it?
Good that you asked about proofreading. I am a living example. I have a personal story like a hot bun from an oven. Recently, I had to shell out around 30,000 rupees just to make a correction in my middle name. And I have to give this money to my lawyer. For 7 years, I have struggled because there is one little tiny mistake in my divorce decree. So, it is very costly. And not to forget, suppose you are approaching a potential client and you send an email or message to this client and you do a big spelling mistake or you just do some comma mistake. It's like, uh, your potential client will not really appreciate it. What that person will think that you are not professional. You don't even bother to correct your mistakes. And the person will simply decide without even knowing you that he doesn't want to work with you. So are you ready to lose your client just because you are too lazy to proofread your writing? I've learned it the hard way. Though the mistake was not mine.
Yes,
But
ma'am, that was very costly hardware. So, also, ma'am, like proofreading, I would like to mention is not just only limited to the checking of grammatical errors and also about double checking the facts that you are going to mention and the figures you are going to
definitely.
mention. So, what would you say about that? Like,
Sometimes you do a lot of research, you read things online, you just put it in your blog article. Now whatever source you have taken the data from, that source may not be authentic. What if they have also taken data from some third source, which is again not authentic? So if you're not getting this data from authentic sources, how can you justify whatever you're telling is true? That is why in academia, especially in research world, they do not trust blog articles. If you have taken anything from blog article, let's say in a thesis, if you write any statement and say I have taken this from blog article, they will outright reject your thesis because that is not permitted. Your source has to be credible. So you need to check your citations. Whoever has said that, suppose imagine some big quote that Einstein has said, and suddenly you say that Michael Faraday quoted this. What a blunder it would be
it
if
would be.
everybody points it out.
Yes, ma'am. Definitely, ma'am. So, again, like, what are some common mistakes or pitfalls that writers should be aware of, and how can they avoid or correct them in their writing? One of them you mentioned is not using the secondary or the third sources of research. So, what else would be, ma'am?
Yes, so like I already mentioned about the sources, and also uh, like when you are actually writing, you are trying to make your reader understand, and in that attempt, you start writing a lot. It's like verbose, lot of verbose. Let me give you an example. Let's say there is a 12-year-old kid and he comes late to school, 15 minutes late. He barges into the class and, may I come in, ma'am? He says. Ma'am looks at him and says, you are very late. You are 15 minutes late. This is not supposed to be the time you should come to the class. You do it every day. I am really upset with you. I will not allow you in the classroom. You have to leave now. What will boy do? The boy will say, ma'am, please, I got late because of this and that. And then the ma'am said, no, no, nothing doing. I am not ready to take any excuses from now. You are not going to show me your face for next 45 minutes. Just go out and stand outside the class. Again, the boy will do, ma'am, please, just today, just today. And after a lot of discussions, ma'am will allow the guy. Right? This is what typically happens.
Yes.
Now, let's see, this is the same teacher teaching in the classroom, and the boy comes in. When the boy, enters and says, ma'am, may I come in? The ma'am looks at him and says, get out! What's going to happen? Boy will run for his life and will never come back, never
Yes.
ever get late to the class. So, why do you have to explain so much when something can be done in just 2 words? So next time you are like tempted to write a lot of words, remember this. Get out can do the job. You don't need to explain the kid what, that you're upset, that he's 15 minutes late. He already knows that.
Keep it very apt and short. Uh, so, ma'am, next question would be, how does the digital age and the prevalence of online content is impacting writing styles and techniques? Are there any specific considerations writers should keep in mind while creating content for online platforms? Because there are a lot right now.
Yes, a big consideration. Uh, Before this, COVID and digital age, we had the patience to read 2, 3 pages, right? Now we don't have patience to read even 2, 3 lines, sentences. So you have, as a writer, you have to entertain your reader, attract your reader, do everything you want to do with the reader in just 2 sentences. If the reader doesn't enjoy those 2 sentences, your article will never be read. And it is factual proof that nobody, literally nobody, you can say more than 98% of the people don't read full article. It's only, novels that are read completely.
Yes.
Nobody reads the complete book. Nobody reads the complete article. Which means whatever, you're trying to say, whatever you say last, it will never go into the head of the reader. This is the fact that you must remember that they have a very short attention span, which means you have to write very, very short. That is why when we see landing pages, they are not full of big paragraphs. They're like 2 lines here, 2 lines there, 2 lines here, then here 2 lines, like that. Because they understand, they do UX writing, in which we learn that readers don't have patience to read more than one sentence, max to max 2 sentences. That is why, long posts do not work. Your post, just two-liner posts, they become viral. But if you're really giving a genuine, very useful post, nobody's gonna like it because it's just too long.
I also like what are views about, like we are living in the era of captions where two-liners are working, as you said, but a whole paragraph is not going to work. So, what is your views on that as well?
Yes. So paragraph is not going to work, but you know that first 2 line they will read.
Yeah.
So make the first 2 line like, attractive, like a trailer. When you go to see a movie, before that you watch a trailer. You like the trailer, so you go to movie. But you do, right? You spend 2 to 3 hours in a movie. So in the same way, those 2 lines have to be very attractive. They should justify why the person should read your article. And if the reader is excited, then yes, the reader is going to read. Maybe not the full article, but maybe a few hundred words.
Definitely, ma'am. And like, can you provide some of the insights into the role of feedback in the writing process, and how can writers effectively seek and incorporate feedback to improve their work?
Feedback is very important. Now, like I gave you an example of, if you're writing for teenagers and you have done research about teenagers, but you don't know if your writing will actually click teenager. So what are you going to do? You're going to just go to a teenager who you know personally, and you'll show the article to the teenager and ask the teenager. You are thinking that it's a wonderful article, it's going to click the teenager, but the teenager says that it doesn't connect with me. It's really boring. This actually happened with me once when I wrote a beautiful article. I was very proud of it. I went to my friend and I told him to give feedback. He said, and then he read the whole article as a friend he was supposed to. Then he said, I don't know what you're trying to communicate. And I was like, you don't even know what I'm trying to communicate. Like, that's basic. I failed even in the basic. This was long back. But
Yeah, yeah.
this is why you need feedback for validation. First is validation, and feedback can also help you improve. So if suppose you take feedback from experts who are already writers, they can give you some tips to really improve your writing. When you're taking feedback from readers, they can tell you what they want to actually read. And if your writing, if your words, if your ideas are actually relevant to them or not.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely, ma'am. And so, what are some of the valuable resources, tools, or further education options that aspiring writers can explore to enhance their writing skills and knowledge? Because content creation is a thing right now. It is going to be a big era of work right now for content creators. So, when we are talking about content creation and developing this skill, what are the valuable resources and tools, madam?
Okay, so I'll simply tell you, go to Chat GPT, write this question, that will give you the answer. But that answer is not going to really prepare you for the real world. What
Yes.
is going to prepare is something you might not have expected. If you really want to do research, find out how to make your writing better. It's the people that you have to go to. You have to talk to people. And many people think that writers are very boring guys. They just sit in a room, they don't talk to anyone. That's not true. If you do not talk to anyone, you don't understand people's psychology, then you cannot do good writing. You have to talk to people. That is your best source of research, people. And you also asked about learning, how to learn. Now, there are many courses actually available online. I have personally taken more than 50 courses on writing, and I've read more than 100 books on writing. So, from my personal experience, this is what I can tell you. The best way to actually learn and improve is by assisting someone who has already gone through that path. So, no course has been created so far that can completely give justice or give you practical exposure to writing. They give you fundas. You'll find very good fundas. There are some courses on Udemy and LinkedIn that are fantastic. So, but they are like, overviews, guides. Okay. Like you just look at them, they
Yeah.
look nice. But when you go and actually do the work, you are completely clueless. I've learned through a system. I was assisted at least five writers through some courses. One creative editor I assisted, one creative head I assisted. So this is how I was able to improve my writing. And of course, you talk to readers, you talk to other writers. I have a lot of conversations on a practice kind of things. There is one group in Pune for writers. What they do, they write, and every week, twice a week, they meet online. Each person reads that particular excerpt, and then other people think that is how you actually learn, not by sitting alone and just watching some video. That's not gonna make you a good writer.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your valuable time with this question and this brilliant answer of yours. I am sure our aspiring writers are going to get a lot of help from our this coffee conversation session. We have an amazing session today. Thank you so much for giving your valuable time. I hope everybody has noted down the tips that you have given. So valuable tips were there in our session today. Uh, and for the advantage learning bite session will be available on the coffee conversation show on YouTube for so our viewers can just go to our YouTube channel, the coffee conversation show, and get to the every coffee conversation show. We have talked with speakers, various guests, and they can also subscribe. So because we have lined up a huge list of brilliant subject experts going to talk on various subject topics. So please subscribe, like, and share our YouTube channel. And we would look forward to yet another guest with yet another trending topic. Share your comments on the YouTube channel and be a part of these special curated session. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, our viewers, and thank you, ma'am, for giving your valuable time to us. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It was really exciting. Your questions were wonderful.
Same here, ma'am. It was great pleasure talking to you.
Same here.